In this video, we're going to show you how to install the brake flex hose on your Nissan Quest located behind your rear wheels. Using a 21mm socket, go ahead and loosen and remove all of your lug nuts. Go ahead and grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. On the back side of our caliper right here, we have a banjo bolt. Now on your factory bolt, it is probably going to be a 12mm. On our particular one here, it is an 11mm, but factory bolt is a 12. And we do have a catch can underneath. You want to catch any residual brake fluid that might come out of this here. I'm going to loosen and remove this banjo bolt. Now there's going to be two copper washers on this here. One is going to be on the bolt head side, and the other one is going to be on the caliper side here. Ideally, you want to go ahead and replace these copper washers anytime that this is removed. Here's the inboard copper washer. We'll pull that off. I'm going to take our new hose here. We installed a new copper washer on there. Install a new copper washer on this side here and get that lined up. Go ahead and get that bolt started. When you tighten this down, make sure that the pin is lined up on the inside of the caliper and snug that down. On the other side of the flex hose is going to come up to a retaining clip. We want to go ahead and remove that clip as well as loosen the hard line. Now here we have our hard line coming over and it attaches to our flex hose. So we went ahead and soaked this in some rust penetrant using a 10mm wrench. We want to go ahead and break this free. And you can see that the nut is spinning here. You want to make sure that when you're loosening this here that the hard line is not spinning with it. If it is, you need to take your time and loosen it. Use some more rust penetrant or apply a little bit of heat to it to go ahead and make sure that this nut spins freely. Now we are going to lose some brake fluid from this as well. Before we remove that completely, I want to go ahead and loosen our retaining clip. Now this is a horseshoe clip. It comes around on the left, around the front, and around the passenger side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver right on the tip right here on the edge, and I'm going to tap this. And we're simply releasing this retainer, and there's why we call it a horseshoe clip or a U-clip. And you can see that has a arch to it. You want to make sure that that spring or arch faces up when you reinstall it. I'm going to use some solvent here and clean up this area. Go ahead, loosen and remove this. Go ahead and pull this out. Remove that, and you can discard that. Take your new line here. Feed that up into place. You take your horseshoe clip, line that up. I'm going to tap that on. That'll secure that. Go ahead and get that hard line started in there. Definitely want to start that by hand. Do not cross thread that. And then snug it down. You do want to make sure that that's good and tight. Once you feel comfortable with how tight it is there, we're going to go ahead and spray that down again. Wipe it down. And then we can go ahead and clean the lower portion here. Clean off that hose and any residual brake fluid there. On our caliper itself, we have a bleeder screw right here. And then on our unit, we have a rubber cap here. Now, if yours doesn't have the rubber cap, that's okay. But if you do, you want to go ahead and remove that. Using an 8mm wrench, we want to go ahead and open this up. Now, we have a catch can underneath to catch any residual brake fluid that's going to be coming out. That's what we want to do. We're going to purge any air out of the system and let that fluid push that air out. Let's go ahead and open this. By doing this, it's allowing fluid to come through the line and up into the caliper itself and then purge any air out. So we're going to watch here for air bubbles. Our goal is to eventually just see a solid stream of fluid coming out. Once that air is out and we have a solid stream of fluid, we'll go ahead and tighten this down. So here we have some fluid coming out. Let that drip for a little bit and watch for any air bubbles. At this point here, we have a solid stream of fluid coming out. We can go ahead and tighten down the bleeder screw. Snug it down. Use some spray solvent. Clean up any residual fluid. The next step, hop into the vehicle. Pump up the brakes. You want to make sure that you have a solid brake pedal feel. Now, for any reason, if you don't have a solid brake pedal feel, you can try this bleeding process one more time. If that does not solve the problem, you want to go ahead and start on your complete vehicle brake bleeding process. Install your rubber cap if you have it. Go ahead and install your wheel. I'm going to go ahead and start all of our lug nuts by hand. This will help prevent cross-threading. Once we have all of our lug nuts started, let's go ahead and snug them down. Torque down your lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds. Do this in a crisscross pattern. I'm going to start on your complete vehicle brake bleeding process by spraying down our reservoir here, cleaning up any debris. Wipe that down. Go ahead and open up that cap, rotating that counterclockwise and pulling that out. Use the recommended DOT3 brake fluid. And we're going to fill this right up to the top of the neck itself. And once that's filled up, reinstall the cap. So here we are at our right rear wheel. Now the brake bleeding process is going to be the right rear, followed by the left front, followed by the left rear, and we're going to end with the right front wheel. Now we have somebody inside the vehicle, and what they're going to do is they're going to pump up the brakes and they're going to hold the pedal. And then we're going to open up the bleeder screw right here on our brake caliper. This is going to release any air bubbles, and what we're looking for is a solid stream of fluid coming out. Then we're going to seal this up, and they're going to repeat this process for a couple times so we make sure we have all of the air out of the line. Now on this particular model here, we have a rubber cap. We're going to pop that off. If yours does not have that, it's not critical. So let's go ahead and get this started. We have a reservoir here, comes around. We're going to put this on. Now this is an 8mm bleeder screw. And we're going to go ahead and have the person inside the vehicle pump up the brakes.
Holding.
All right, while they're holding that, we're going to watch our line here and watch for that fluid. And we can see we have plenty of air bubbles coming out of that. So we're going to seal that up. Okay, pump it up. And we'll go one more time. And you can see we have a solid stream of fluid. We're going to do one more time, and then we're going to move up to that left front wheel. Okay, we're going to seal that up. We're going to pull off the line here, let this drain into our reservoir, and pop on our cap. Let's go ahead and move to the left front wheel. So here we are at the left front wheel. We have a similar setup, caliper with the bleeder screw. Go ahead and remove that rubber cap. I'm just set that aside for now. I'm going to put our hose on. All right, we're going to have him pump up the brakes. While he's holding that, we're going to open this up. Snug that down. Okay, repeat. And one more time. Now on our left front wheel, we're getting a solid stream of fluid here. I'm going to seal this up. We're going to release this here, let that fluid drain into our reservoir, and put on our cap. Before we move on to the next wheel, we're now going to go underneath the hood and top off our brake fluid. So after we've bled out 2 of those wheels there, you want to come back here. You want to go ahead and add fluid to get it up to that full line. Actually going to go up a little bit higher. because we're going to bleed off the next 2 wheels. Now that we've topped off our reservoir after bleeding off the 2 wheels, you want to repeat this process for the left rear and then finish up with the right front. Open up the cap, top it off to the max line. Now that we've topped off to the max line, put on the cap, seal it. Now that we've cleaned everything up, hop into the vehicle, pump up the brakes, make sure that the pedal is nice and firm. So for any reason, if it's not firm, you want to go ahead and repeat the brake bleeding process one more time. Once you're completed with that, go ahead, install your wheels, torque the lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds. You can go ahead and go for road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.